give a couple of examples. During the Charleston 5 struggle, I worked with Kenny, invited him. He was the luncheon speaker at the Southern Labor Studies Association, and got first-hand account from worker leadership on the ground to all these Southern labor historians who then went back to their campuses and spread that message and helped organize more support for that. On a Labor Day celebration, we had Ms. Moultrie come, showed I Am Somebody, and interviewed her in terms of, you know, what are your thoughts on all that now, and how does that work? There's that kind of outreach. Some of us have spoken to the Charleston Central Labor Council on labor history and Southern labor history and all that. And I would hope that everyone else here, wherever you are doing those same kind of things. And I think unions have to reach out to academics and other professionals and progressives, and the progressive community has to respond positively as well. And sometimes you have to kind of put yourself forward, or sort of offer to do things, not just wait for an invitation, because that's how you get those allies. That's how you build that strength over time, not just in a crisis, not just when all of a sudden everything hits the fan and gee, what can we do and how can we help and all that, but you've already got relationships and trust has been built up, and you know you can count on people when they're going to speak at a press conference or at a public rally in Columbia or something like that. You don't have to worry that they're going to, you know, say something that's going to be all crazy and problematic. So to get that kind of nexus between labor, community, academic groups and everything, that's what we really need to have.
In some ways, it's a follow-up to George's excellent point, but Ken, I do want to reiterate that it was at the Southern Labor Studies Conference that I first met Ken 8 years ago in Miami, where he did give this great address, which fired everybody up. But yeah, it would be nice to create more opportunities for this kind of dialogue. And it strikes me that, you know, we all know what's going on in our world of work, which is that there are just so many unemployed historians. And then you hear someone like Ken say, well, you know, we have the resources in the labor movement potentially to create a much more broad-based education program. I was thinking, well, sure, it would be nice to find ways for the labor movement to take you know, all of these unemployed historians and say, okay, let's set up. And then I started thinking, well, you know, the government is funding this huge program, which many of us I know worked in Teaching American History, where we work to create programs for high school teachers. And that's great, and I think it's a good program, but wouldn't it be nice to have a sort of Teaching American History for unions and for workers? There's no reason that that can't be done either. So, and finally, you know, we're undergoing our own containerization and automation in our profession, which is online teaching, which people I know are ambivalent about. But again, that would strike me as a very interesting tool for creating some of these connections. So, there's some thoughts and ideas along those lines. And then we'll finish with Heather.
Just speaking as what we could do as historians, and I know my colleagues when I was at UNC Charlotte got really sick of me saying this, but I think it really needs to be said again and again. Historians are all workers too, and when we're not in unions, it also sends messages to our students that unions don't exist and they're not important. And I think when we unionize, we have an invaluable opportunity to show our students what unions are about, that they protect our benefits, that they protect our wages. And so in some respect, our biggest labor education tool is to become labor activists ourselves. And I know that in the state of North Carolina, the argument was always at UNC Charlotte, well, we can't unionize because the state says we can't. And I sort of said, well, wait a minute, we're historians. Remember when the entire government said you couldn't unionize and people did it anyway, and it becomes a battle and a fight. And now I'm at Temple University, which we are AFT, and that was, to me, like one of the most exciting things about going to Temple. But I will say that like half of the history department is not part of the union. And so, you know, really, it's really, at some level, the best way to show that labor is important is to become a labor activist, not as the outsider looking in and advising and supporting. I mean, that's important too, but on the ground, right? I mean, we university professors have lost tremendous ground in the last 5 years, even in terms of our benefits and our wages. And so, again, I think we need to kind of remember that even when we're in states that they're saying you can't unionize. You know, who said us, right?
I want to give our panelists a last chance to any final comments. Okay.
I'm through.